Have you ever seen this before in your life? Most people haven't. It looks strange, like something from a treasure hunt movie. Only this time, it's not fiction. It's real. This is the Ethiopian Bible, one of the most mysterious and controversial biblical texts on earth. Even the country that guards this treasure is cloaked in mystery. Ethiopia, home to one of the oldest civilizations known to man, the only African nation that was never colonized, and a land that traces its bloodline all the way back to Ham, one of Noah's sons. According to both Jewish and Christian history, this lineage has been preserved, and Ethiopia became the silent guardian of this ancient scripture long before much of the world even knew what the Bible was. But this video isn't just about the land, it's about what the land contains. A version of the Bible, far older than the King James, and far more complete. The Ethiopian Bible contains 89 books. That's 23 more than the Bible most Christians read today. While the King James Version has 66 books, 39 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New. The Ethiopian Bible contains scrolls from the Old Testament, the New Testament, and other sacred writings that have never been seen in Western Bibles. Here's what makes it even more remarkable. These ancient scrolls existed in Ethiopia long before Christianity officially entered the country in the 4th century. Christianity wasn't brought to Ethiopia, it was already there. Cosmas Indicopleustes, a Christian monk and traveler, wrote that Ethiopia was a Christian kingdom as early as the 6th century. He even witnessed how rulers welcomed Christian refugees fleeing persecution in the Roman Empire. Some Ethiopian tribes have worshipped the God of the Bible for over 3,500 years. And if that's true, then the oldest organized Christian body in the world isn't the Catholic Church. It's the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. They also possess one of the world's oldest illustrated Christian manuscripts, written in Ge'ez, the ancient Ethiopian language, discovered on a mountaintop in 2010. Now, you might heard of the Queen of Sheba visiting King Solomon. That story is in most Bibles. But what you didn't hear is the part that Ethiopia kept. 1 Kings chapter 10 verse 1. Their sacred text, the Kebra Nagast, claims that Sheba had a son by Solomon, Menelik. She returned to Ethiopia with him and made him the first emperor. In 2012, genetic studies backed up the idea of Middle Eastern ancestry among Ethiopians. Even with these historical links, the Ethiopian Bible remains almost completely unknown to modern believers. Why? Let's break this down. The Bible we know today wasn't always this way. Originally, the scriptures were written in Hebrew. Later, they were translated into Greek, Aramaic, and Latin. Saint Jerome translated them into Latin around 400 AD, forming the Latin Vulgate, which became the Catholic Church's official Bible. It contained 39 books in the Old Testament, 27 in the New Testament. But not all early Christian writings made it into this collection. In the first few centuries AD, many books were written about Jesus. Some were legitimate. Some were not. Fake gospels, fan fiction, theological propaganda. And since there was no internet, falsehoods spread fast. Church leaders became concerned. So, in 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea met to choose what would become Scripture. Another council followed in 381 AD. In Constantinople, their goal was to eliminate confusion. A book was only considered Scripture if it was written by someone who personally knew Jesus, it fit the teachings of existing Scripture, and it was written in the 1st century. That ruled out dozens of books. But even after this, different Bible versions persisted, especially as Christianity spread. By the 1600s, King James I of England wanted a unifying Bible, one that would end religious disputes, reinforce his political power. He commissioned 47 experts, divided into 6 groups, to work for 7 years on the translation. They used the best tools available and had strict rules to avoid personal bias. When the final version was compared, their results were nearly identical. Because of printing advancements, this version spread rapidly. It became the most widely read Bible of all time. But in this editing process, many books were omitted. Books that the Ethiopian Bible still has. Let's be clear, the Ethiopian Bible wasn't corrupted, it was preserved. It contains sacred texts such as the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, the Shepherd of Hermas, 1 Clement, 4 books of Maccabean, not to be confused with Maccabees, and dozens more. Many of these books were considered pseudo-apocrypha. The church believed these were written by impostors or with false motives, but Ethiopia never rejected them. They preserved them in 2 major versions. The broader canon contains 81 books. The narrower canon contains 72 books, endorsed by Emperor Haile Selassie. Why did Haile Selassie endorse the smaller canon? That's a sensitive subject. But let's just say politics played a role. Even within Ethiopia, there's debate. But that doesn't take away the historical and spiritual weight of what was preserved. So why did the West reject it? 3 main reasons. Language barrier. The Bible was written in Ge'ez, a language few outside Ethiopia understood. Lack of translation. Until recently, most of the Ethiopian Bible was never translated. Political agenda. The Roman Church wasn't focused on spiritual preservation. It was about empire control. They burned any scrolls that didn't fit their doctrine. Some priests hid those scrolls. They were discovered centuries later in the Dead Sea region. Even so, the Ethiopian Bible survived attacks, fires, and invasions. Muslim forces tried to destroy it. Italian colonists tried to suppress it. Fires ravaged the monastery in the 1930s. But the scrolls survived. The Bible isn't one single book. It's a library of divine experiences. And the Ethiopian version reveals how political motives, translation issues, and denominational agendas shaped what we read today. It challenges the modern believer to ask, what have we been missing? Today, Ethiopian churches are translating their texts. Academics are studying them. And believers around the world are waking up to the depth of Scripture they were never told about. They tried to bury this book. They tried to erase its words. But truth doesn't die. It survives hidden in the mountains of Ethiopia. And now it's found. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We post videos like this every day.